It's episode 5 already. I can't believe it. And now, some exciting parts are starting to arrive. So let's have a look at them. Rod shop. We've got ourselves some Viking coilovers for the front suspension. Double adjustable, height adjustable. I'm actually quite excited about these parts. What else has arrived? Window rubbers, door rubbers, as well as all my suspension bushes and my KBS chassis paint. So let's have a look at that. The rod shop, double adjustable Viking coilovers, conversion kit for HQ. Some of my door rubbers have started to arrive. All my steering and suspension and body rubbers have arrived. My KBS coda kit has arrived. So we can really get cracking into this car now. So on today's agenda, we're going to start paint stripping these inner guards, both inside and outside. I paint stripped the tail shaft yesterday, so just need to give it a sand. And done the first sort of de-rusting of one of the headers. So yeah, the painting and coating of everything begins. deliveries. What have we got this time? So this one from Better Auto Rubber in Queensland. After reading a lot of Facebook recommendations, decided to go with their rubber kit for HQ Coupe. Also in this should be nut and bolt restoration. What have we got? So I never envisaged there'd be a nut and bolt restoration, but here we are, the full nut and bolt restoration kit. So 673 pieces, I believe. So yeah, let's have a look. The beauty of this kit also has all the labels for what they are, so I don't have to sort of guess and compare as much. But yeah, all the speed nuts, panel bolts, door clips, trim clips, yeah, there's a lot in here. We'll have a quick look at it, have a close up. So in my journeys of stripping this apart, of course things are going to be difficult. One of them is this brake line. This particular flare nut just doesn't want to come undone, and I know I'm going to end up stripping it, screwing it up, and then probably having to cut the brake line off. Now I've already got new ones of these over on the bench, which I'll show you, and hopefully I can get that side out okay, but I'm going to remake this line myself with some stuff I've got. So let's go have a look. So over here on the bench, we've got some 3/16 steel tube, or 4.75mm. I've got my 4.75mm little die, I suppose you call, some tube nuts, pipe cutter to cut it, and the 45-degree flare tool in the vise, ready to go. So we're going to try and make up this tube, and then we'll bend it into shape. Alright, so first of all, make sure we've got the right end for what we want. It's a 45-degree. Put in our tube. Get our other end. Make sure she's nice and square in there. Now obviously first of all put onto the OP0 to square it up with the end. Now that it's square, we'll tighten it up so it don't move. Simply go to the operation 1 for our size tube. So that's the first part of the flare done. Then we go around to our operation 2. Give it a good squeeze. That's it. And we've got a flared piece of tube. Put that on there. She should be good to go. So now that we've got our straight one made, we're going to just sort of bend this one into shape to get as close to that as possible. Now to do that, I'm going to try and use Aeroflow tube bender. So after a bit of dicking around, I made this. I know it's not perfect, not the prettiest, but the plans with this car do include a whole new braking system when the bigger engine comes. So yeah, you don't skimp on brakes and safety, but at the same time this is not long term. So we'll see how this goes when I actually bolt it back in. So we just got the sway bar off. Yeah, and you can see it's a little bit dirty, a little bit grot. So let's clean this up. We'll do some after shots after we finish all this up. It's another day, and the paint stripping and sanding of the inner guards, tail shaft and sway bar are done. It's in bare metal, and now I'm going to start putting some of this KBS kit on. So for these which are completely bare metal with basically no rust on them, I'll just go straight to the rust seal. But for the tail shaft and sway bar, I'm going to do the full process of what it recommends. So I'm going to be applying all this with a brush to see how the self-leveling turns out, and we'll go from there. The top side of the inner guards I'll do with the spray gun and compressor because I just want it to be a bit better finish. Having not done that before, we'll see how that turns out when we get around to it. But for today, let's do the underside. As you can see, inner guards are all in bare metal. Not perfect, but you know what? I'm happy with what I've done. So, tail shaft, I'll give it the full process, and the sway bar. What are you doing? So let's see how this goes. First coat done. Turned out alright. Can't see much of the sway bar, but yeah. See how the second coat goes. Alright, so 2 coats have been applied. So let's do a little review of how it actually is turning out. It is very thick to put on. The self-leveling works out pretty good. There's not too many brush marks. There is some, depending on sort of how I sort of applied it. But overall I'm pretty happy, considering most of this stuff that I've painted so far is not visible. It's going to be undercarriage and suspension parts that it's not too important, the aesthetics, but it's still interesting to see. So I'll do a couple of close-ups to show you how it turned out. Overall I'm happy considering it's a brush job. I think the tail shaft turned out better. Again, it's never going to be perfect, but I'm happy with that, how that turned out. So you can see it turned out pretty good. Not bad for a brush job. Considering how thick this is and how well it goes on, and how hardy it seems to be to touch, I really wish I had done it to this when I was painting its chassis. I wish I knew about this product a while ago. So today, I'm going to spend some time just doing a few little fiddly things like the dipstick and accelerator rod, I suppose you call it, for the accelerator bracket. So yeah, let's clean these up. More paint stripping of things like this. That was easy. Well, I wish it was that easy. Anyway, let's continue. So on today's agenda, we're just going to clean up a few of these small things. Like these. So a quick update on these things. Turned out alright. Still haven't given them a second coat though, so yeah, we'll see how we go. So today's agenda, we're going to try and give these a coat of paint. See how it actually turns out coming out of the spray gun. So this is the makeshift paint shop today. So we measure out stir, compressor, gun, and our spray booth. And the spray booth, so marquee trying to keep dust out, a couple of rags trying to keep overspray off the house, and yeah, let's see how these turn out. So they've turned out alright. I'm certainly not a professional painter, and doing it outside meant there is some imperfections of stuff getting in the paint. And yeah, this is why I'm not going to paint my car, but I'm going to do just a few little things that aren't so visible But yeah, this is only first coat. I will put a second coat on. But yeah, not too bad. So finally, lockdown is easing and people can come over and give me a hand. So we're going to end this video by moving the Monaro into the middle of the garage, where the next episode is going to be focusing on disassembling of the suspension. And I'm going to end this video too with a couple of tips, tricks, or things that I think are really worthwhile that I never knew of beforehand. So one of them is this paint tin opener that I bought from Super Cheap that comes with this stirrer. This paint tin opener is amazing. It really does change your life for opening paint tins, and it's the best $3 you'll spend. So here's an image of what it looks like, and yeah, get yourself one. You won't regret it. Also, these paint pourers. Now, I got 5 of these when I bought the KBS chassis coater kit. I think it was $5 for 5 of them. They look like they're going to be too big for a tin, but because they're flexible, you can shape it into the smaller tins, and you don't get the spillage down the side. It's a cleaner pour. It's amazing. So, looking at this, which I've done maybe 5 pours out of, there's not a single bit of paint on the outside of the tin. And that also leads me to the next tip, that putting Glad wrap over it before you put the lid on means the lid doesn't get stuck to it, and it's really easy to open it. So yeah, another little small thing that makes a big difference. So that's it for this episode, and in the next one, we're going to get stuck into the suspension. Till then.